My landlord sneaks into my apartment at night. He has done it for 6 months. My name is Maria. I am 31 years old. I live alone in a small building. The building is old. It has 6 apartments. I live in apartment 3B. My landlord lives in apartment 1A, on the ground floor. His name is Mr. Harlan. He is 70 years old. He is quiet. He walks with a small limp. He has lived in this building longer than anyone. He owns the whole building. Every night, I lock my door. I check the lock 2 times. I am careful. I live alone, so I must be careful. But somehow, in the morning, things are different. A bag of groceries sits by my stove. Bread. Eggs. Milk. Sometimes apples. I did not buy them. I did not order them. They are just there. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought maybe I bought them and forgot. But I checked my bank account. I had not spent any money. The groceries were a gift from someone. But who? I have a small kitchen window. It does not lock well. I think that is how he comes in. I have never caught him. I have never seen his face in my apartment. But I know it is him. I know it is Mr. Harlan. Why do I not stop him? Why do I not change the lock? There is a reason. But first, I must explain my story. I must explain how I got here. 2 years ago, my life was very different. I worked as a nurse at a busy hospital. I worked long hours. I worked night shifts. The pay was not high, but it was steady. I had a husband. His name was Daniel. We were married for 4 years. We had small dreams. We wanted a house. We wanted children one day. Then Daniel got sick. It was sudden. One day he was healthy. The next month, he was in a hospital bed. The doctors used a long word. I will not say the word. It does not matter now. What matters is this: the treatment was very expensive. Our insurance did not cover everything. We used our savings. We sold our car. We sold our furniture. I worked extra shifts. I worked weekends. I worked holidays. I was always tired. My back hurt. My feet hurt. But I did not stop. I could not stop. Daniel needed the medicine. Daniel needed the doctors. For 1 year, I fought beside him. We fought together. I held his hand in the hospital. I brought him soup. I read to him at night. I told him, we will win this. We will be okay. But we did not win. Daniel died on a quiet morning in spring. The sun was shining outside the window. The birds were singing. It did not feel right. The world should have been dark and cold, but it was bright and warm. I sat next to his bed for 1 hour. I did not cry yet. I was too shocked to cry. The hospital gave me a small box. Inside was his watch, his wedding ring, and the book he had been reading before he got too tired to read. I carried that box home on the bus. I held it on my lap the whole way. People stared at me. I think they could see the grief on my face, even though I was not crying. After Daniel died, I had nothing left. No husband. No savings. No car. I had only debt. Hospital bills came in the mail every week. I could not pay them. I cried over those letters at my kitchen table. I could not stay in our old apartment. It was too expensive without Daniel's income. I needed something smaller. Something cheaper. A friend told me about a building. An old building with low rent. She said the landlord was a strange old man, but fair. I called the number. I rented apartment 3B. I moved in with 3 boxes and 1 suitcase. That was all I had left of my old life. The rent was $600 a month. It was not a large amount, but for me, it was everything. My hospital salary went to 3 places. The hospital bills from Daniel's treatment. My rent. And food. There was nothing left after that. No extra money. No savings. No comfort. I met Mr. Harlan on my first day. He was sitting on a chair outside the building. He watched me carry my boxes up the stairs. He did not offer to help. He just watched. He had sharp eyes. Quiet eyes. He said only one sentence to me that day. "Rent is due on the 1st, he said. I nodded. I did not say much back. I was too tired to talk to a stranger. Months passed. I paid my rent every month, but it became harder. The hospital bills grew bigger. They sent letters with red stamps. Past due, the letters said. Final notice, they said. I started skipping meals. I ate rice and eggs for almost every dinner. I stopped buying new clothes. I wore Daniel's old sweaters because they were warm and because they still smelled like him, a little, for a while. 1 month, I could not pay my full rent. I only had $400. I knocked on Mr. Harlan's door. My hands were shaking. "I am sorry," I said. "I only have $400 this month. I will pay the rest next month. I promise." Mr. Harlan looked at me for a long moment. His face did not show anger. It did not show kindness either. It was simply still, like a quiet lake. "Okay," he said. "Pay what you can." He took the $400 and closed the door. I stood in the hallway, confused. I expected him to shout. I expected him to threaten me. He did neither. The hospital bills kept coming. My doctor said I was not eating enough. My doctor said I was too thin. I told her I was fine. That was a lie. I was not fine. I was drowning in debt and grief at the same time. Grief is heavy enough alone. Debt makes it heavier. I remember standing in the grocery store one evening, counting coins in my palm. I put back the chicken. I put back the cheese. I bought only rice and a small bag of onions. The cashier gave me a strange look, but I did not explain myself to a stranger. I stopped answering my phone. Too many calls came from the hospital billing office. Too many calls came from collection agencies. I let the phone ring and ring until it stopped. Then I sat in silence in my small apartment, alone with my thoughts about Daniel, alone with my fear about money. One night in winter, everything became too much. I came home from a 12-hour shift. My legs were weak. My head was pounding. I opened my refrigerator. It was empty. Completely empty. I had no food and no money to buy food. My next paycheck was 5 days away. I sat on my kitchen floor. The tile was cold beneath me. I did not have the energy to stand up. I thought about Daniel. I thought about our old life, our small dreams, our plans for a house and children. All of that was gone now. I had nothing. I had no husband, no money, no food, and a mountain of debt that grew taller every single day. I started to cry. I cried the way I had not let myself cry since the funeral. I cried for Daniel. I cried for my tired body. I cried for the rent I could barely pay. I cried until my throat hurt and my eyes were swollen. I whispered into the empty kitchen. I cannot do this anymore. I am so tired. I am so alone. No one heard me. No one was there. I believed, in that moment, that I would simply keep sinking. I believed there was no bottom to this. I believed the hole would only get deeper. I fell asleep on the kitchen floor that night. I did not mean to. I was simply too exhausted to move to my bed. When I woke up in the morning, my back ached, and my eyes were dry and tight from crying. That was the lowest point. I did not know, on that morning, that something was about to change. The next evening, I came home from work. I opened my door slowly. I was bracing myself for the same empty apartment, the same empty refrigerator. But something was different. There was a smell in the kitchen. A warm smell. Bread. I walked to the kitchen, confused. On my counter, there was a paper bag. Inside, there was a fresh loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, a bottle of milk, and a small bag of apples. I stood there, staring at the bag. My heart was beating fast. Someone had been inside my apartment. I checked my door. It was locked. I checked the kitchen window. It was open, just slightly, at the bottom. I never opened that window. It did not lock well, but I always kept it closed. I was frightened at first. I called my friend from the hospital. Someone came into my apartment, I told her. She told me to call the police. I almost did. But then I looked at the bag of food again. Bread. Eggs. Milk. Apples. These were not the actions of someone dangerous. These were the actions of someone gentle. I did not call the police that night. I ate the bread. I will admit, I cried again, but this time, they were different tears. I did not know who had done this, but for the first time in months, I did not feel completely alone. The groceries kept appearing. Not every night, but every few nights. Always small things. Bread. Rice. Vegetables. Once, a warm blanket appeared on my chair, folded neatly, when my apartment had been especially cold. I started to suspect it was Mr. Harlan. He was the only person with a key to the building. He was the only one who could move through the hallways without anyone noticing. One night, I decided to stay awake. I sat in my dark living room, near the kitchen, waiting. Around midnight, I heard a small sound at the window. My heart pounded. I watched the window slowly open. A hand reached in, old and careful, and set a bag gently on the counter. Then I saw his face for 1 second in the moonlight. It was Mr. Harlan. "I am sorry," he whispered, when he saw me sitting there. He did not run. He did not look afraid of being caught. He simply looked tired, and a little embarrassed, like a child caught doing something kind in secret. "Mr. Harlan," I said. My voice was shaking. "Why are you doing this?" He sat down slowly in the chair near my door. He was quiet for a long moment before he answered. "When I was young," he said, "I was very poor. Poorer than you can imagine. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. I slept in a church basement for 2 winters. He looked at his hands while he spoke. "I had nothing," he said. "I had no food and no hope." He told me about a woman who lived near the church. Her name was Ruth. She did not know him well, but every week, she left a bag of food outside the basement door. She never knocked. She never asked for thanks. She simply left food and walked away. "For 2 winters, this kept me alive," Mr. Harlan said. "I never paid her back. She died before I had the chance. I promised myself something," he continued. "I promised that one day, when I had enough, I would do the same for someone else. I would not ask for thanks either. I would simply help, quietly, the way she helped me. I watched you struggling," he said. "I saw your bills in the hallway mailbox. I saw how thin you became. I knew your husband had passed. I am not a rich man, but I have enough. So I started leaving food. I am sorry I frightened you." I did not know what to say. I had imagined many things about Mr. Harlan over the past 2 years. A strange old man. A quiet, distant landlord. I never imagined this. Tears filled my eyes again, but these were warm tears, not the cold tears of grief. "Thank you," I whispered. "You did not have to do this." "Yes," he said, "I did. A debt like that does not disappear just because the person is gone. I am only finishing what Ruth started." From that night forward, things changed between us. Mr. Harlan still left food sometimes, but now he also knocked on my door and shared a cup of tea with me. He told me stories about his life. I told him stories about Daniel. We became, in a strange way, like family. He never once mentioned my rent again, though I later learned he had quietly reduced it without telling me, simply marking my payments as paid in full each month. I started to heal. Slowly, my body grew stronger. My grief grew lighter, though it never fully disappeared. I started saving a small amount of money each month for the first time since Daniel died. I started smiling more at work. My coworkers noticed. But not everyone saw the kindness the way I did. My neighbor in apartment 2B, a woman named Carol, began to notice Mr. Harlan visiting my door at night. She watched from her window. She watched him knock softly and step inside with his cup of tea. One afternoon, Carol stopped me in the hallway. "Maria," she said, her voice low. I see Mr. Harlan going into your apartment late at night. I have seen it many times now. Is something going on between you two? My face turned hot with embarrassment. No, Carol, I said. It is not what you think. He is just a kind man. He helps me sometimes. Carol raised an eyebrow. He is 70 years old, she said. You are 31. People are starting to talk, Maria. They think it is strange. They think maybe you are taking advantage of an old man's money, or maybe something else is happening. Either way, it does not look right. Her words stung me deeply. I had never once thought of Mr. Harlan that way. He was like an uncle to me, or perhaps the father I wished I still had. The idea that people saw something dirty in our friendship made me feel sick. The gossip spread through the building slowly, the way gossip always does. Another neighbor gave me a strange look in the laundry room. Someone left a note under my door that simply said, "We know what you are doing." I cried that night, not from grief this time, but from shame and anger. At work, I became quiet again. A coworker asked me why I seemed sad. I told her it was nothing. I could not explain that my own neighbors had turned a kindness into something shameful in their minds. I felt like I was being punished for surviving. I confronted Mr. Harlan about it the next evening. People are saying things, I told him. Ugly things. About us. He sighed heavily. He looked older in that moment than I had ever seen him. People will always find something to whisper about, he said. Especially when they do not understand kindness without a price attached to it. Should we stop? I asked. Should you stop coming here? He looked at me steadily. Do you want me to stop? He asked. No, I admitted. I do not want you to stop. You are the only family I have left in this city. Then we will not stop, he said simply. Let them whisper. We know the truth, even if they do not. But the whispers continued. They grew louder. One day, the building's small homeowners group called a meeting. Carol stood up in front of everyone and openly questioned Mr. Harlan's relationship with me. She asked if it was appropriate for a landlord to enter a tenant's apartment at night, regardless of the reason given. The small meeting room went quiet. Everyone looked at Mr. Harlan, then at me. My face burned with embarrassment. I wanted to run out of the room. I wanted to disappear. Mr. Harlan stood up slowly. He did not look angry. He looked calm, the way he always did. May I explain? He asked the room. No one objected, so he continued. He told them everything. He told them about his own poverty as a young man. He told them about the church basement, about the 2 winters he survived only because of a stranger named Ruth who left him food and asked for nothing in return. He told them about his promise to repay that kindness one day, to someone, anyone, who needed it. He told them about Maria's husband, he said, gesturing toward me gently. He told them about Daniel's illness, about the hospital bills, about the months I went hungry rather than miss a single rent payment. The room grew very quiet as he spoke. Carol's face changed from suspicion to something softer. I did not enter her apartment for any reason but kindness, Mr. Harlan said, his voice steady. I left food because she was starving, quietly, with dignity, the way good people often suffer in silence. I did not want thanks. I did not want attention. I only wanted to finish what was started for me, long ago, by someone I never got to repay. The room was silent for a long moment. Then an elderly man near the back, another tenant, spoke up. I lost my wife last year, he said quietly. No one brought me food. No one checked on me at all. Maybe we should all learn something from Mr. Harlan tonight, instead of judging him. A younger woman near the front wiped her eyes. I am ashamed, she said softly. I was one of the people who whispered. I did not know any of this. I am truly sorry, Maria. I nodded at her. I did not feel anger toward her, only a tired kind of relief that the truth was finally out in the open. Carol looked down at the table. I am sorry, she said quietly, looking at both of us. I did not know. I only saw what looked strange from the outside. I never imagined this was the truth. It is all right, I said, surprising myself with how calm my own voice sounded. I understand why it looked strange. I might have thought the same thing, if I were watching from outside instead of living it from inside. After the meeting, several neighbors approached me. One woman hugged me, apologizing for the note she had left under my door. Another offered to bring me dinner sometime, the way Mr. Harlan had once brought me bread. The shame I had carried for weeks slowly began to lift from my shoulders. It has been 1 year since that meeting. My debt is almost paid off now. My grief for Daniel has softened into something quieter, something I can carry without it crushing me. Mr. Harlan still knocks on my door sometimes in the evening, though now he uses the front door instead of the window. We laugh about that sometimes. We do not need secrets anymore. Carol and I are friends now too. She brings me tomatoes from her small garden in the summer. We never speak of that meeting, but I think we both remember it whenever we pass each other in the hallway. My name is Maria. For 6 months, my landlord snuck into my apartment at night, not to harm me, but to save me, quietly, the way someone once saved him. I want to say something to anyone listening to my story right now. Kindness does not always look the way you expect it to look. Sometimes it looks strange from the outside. Sometimes it looks suspicious, even frightening, before you understand the truth behind it. If you are struggling right now, financially, emotionally, or in grief like I once was, please know that you are not as alone as you feel. Help may come from a place you never expect. It may come quietly, without announcement, without asking for anything in return. And if you are someone who has the power to help another person, even in a small way, I hope my story encourages you. A bag of bread and eggs may seem small to you, but to someone who is starving and ashamed, it can feel like the entire world. Kindness, given quietly, can save a life just as surely as kindness given loudly. Do not judge too quickly what you do not understand. Look closer. Ask questions before you whisper. The truth is often kinder than the rumor. Thank you for listening to my story. Take care of yourselves, and take care of each other.
If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video.